Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Plan with Dr. Jane. This is a 7-day series where we plan 2026 with purpose. Today, we will be planning our career, whatever career it is that you're in, whether you're a student or not, and whatever it is you do for a living. Today, we'll be looking at how we're going to plan this and set goals and set targets for ourselves in 2026. And afterwards, the second thing we'll be looking at is how to plan your finances. You know that career and money goes hand in hand. Na collabo. I don't know about you, but for me in 2026, the goal is diligence, excellence, and growth. I don't know what you want to achieve in 2026, but for me in my career, I want to see some degree of excellence. I want to see some degree of growth. I want to be better than I was in 2025. I want to hit milestones that I didn't hit in 2025. I want to improve my output overall. I want to be a very diligent person in general when it comes to my career. I want to be very intentional. And so I am here today so that we look at the things that we can do in what ways. How can we set practical goals that are smart, that are sustainable, that are measurable, attainable, they're very realistic, and they're time-bound. So at the end of 2026, you can look at your career and be proud of what you've achieved. One of the scriptures that inspires me when it comes to career and diligence is the book of Colossians 3:23 that says, whatever your hand finds to do it as to the Lord and not to men. There are many of us that are working for other people. You maybe work a 9 to 5, maybe you are a salesperson, maybe you're a executive assistant, whatever it is you're doing and you're serving in other people's company. I've realized that many people do it grudgingly. They don't give it their best. They don't give it their all. They do it because they do it in whatever way that they want to, because at the end of the day, they get paid. They do just enough to not be fired, just enough to coast along. But that's not what God wants for you. God wants you to give your best. So ask yourself, in my work, how can I do better? Remember, the Bible says you're doing the work as to God, and God is a rewarder. And so your reward is not in your 9 to 5. Your reward is in your diligence. There are many people who serve at a work and it looks like they're not making headway. They're at the same level, and suddenly doors begin to open for them. That's because God recognizes the diligence with which they've served other people. So today, I want you to reorient yourself. Whatever you want to achieve in 2026, start with your mind. Be determined that in this year, I will do my work diligently. What are the skills I need to learn to carry out my duties diligently? What sort of growth do I need to see? Are there books I need to read? Are there people I need to speak to? Are there people I need to learn from? Whatever you need to get done to ensure that you are excelling in your career is what we want to see in 2026. And also, 2026, we are thinking growth. So you may be thinking promotion. Is there a promotion that you're eyeing in your career? What do you want to do to achieve it? Look at yourself now. We're going to do what we call career mapping. So take your journal, take your workbook, and just document where you are right now in your career. What level are you at? If you're a student, what level are you right now? Now look at the next 5 years, the next 10 years. Where do you see yourself? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to become? If today you are an assistant, tomorrow do you want to own your own company? Do you want to own your own firm? What exactly is it you want to do? Document that. Write it down. Yes, right now, write it down. And then ask yourself, what can I do in 2026 to bring me closer to my goals? Excellence in career it doesn't happen by chance. It doesn't happen by a stroke of luck. It doesn't happen by miracle. You have to work at it. You have to be diligent at it. So what are the steps you want to take to achieve those things? Now write it down. So in my career, do I want to level up? If I need to level up, do I need to take an extra course? Do I need to study something? What courses are available for me to take to improve my skills, to build up my portfolio? Just in case an opportunity pops up in the future, you want to be ready. The difference between you getting the job, over someone else is your degree of preparation, how much you have invested in yourself. So this year, what sort of investment do you want to make in your career? If you're a student, what kind of investment do you want to make in your studies? How are you going to change your study life such that it reflects in your outcome, in your grades? Do you want to be better, or you want to remain the way you were in 2025? That's a decision you're going to have to take for yourself. I can't force you to do that. But today we'll be planning our careers. And I'm going to give you an example of how to set your goals for our careers. So we'll go briefly over it, and then you can continue setting your goals in your journal for your career. So the big question is, what do you want to be known for or known by professionally by December 2026? How do you want to be defined professionally by December 2026? Now, make sure that these goals that you're writing, they're measurable. Make sure that these goals you're writing would eventually need to increase in income, increase in influence, and give you, professional visibility. In what way can you position yourself for excellence in 2026? I don't know what career you're in, and I don't know what you do for a living, but write in accordance to what you do. If you're a student, how can I be an excellent student in 2026? So if that means changing your study habit, you want to evaluate yourself and find out, does this study method, does it work for me? Do I do better studying alone? Do I do better studying with a group of friends? How can I make sure that I am maximizing my time? How many hours do I invest a day in my studies? If I'm doing 4 hours in 2025 and I don't like the results I'm seeing, it only makes sense that in 2026 you add more hours or you change your strategy totally. So dig deep, whatever it is you do for a living, find out, how can I do better? If you're a sales girl and you want to, the plan is to be more diligent in my work in 2026. In what ways can you achieve that? Does that mean I have to start going to work earlier or stop being late to work? Does it mean I have to smile more to customers? Does it mean I have to be truthful in my dealings with people? What are those skills you need to be set apart in the work that you do? Does it mean that you wake up with more, zeal, more energy? You're passionate towards the work, do you want to grumble less about your work in 2026? Interestingly, a lot of people have, when they're dissatisfied with the work that they're in, they go to work with a negative attitude every day. They're grumpy, they're always sad, they're always irritable, and it spills over in their interactions with their colleagues, interaction with customers or clients. And in 2026, do you want to live your life that way? There are two things. If you think that work no longer serves your purpose, is no longer building you or contributing to you, you have a choice to either walk away and find something better. But if you decide that you want to going to stay at that job, then you have to change your attitude. And so 2026, we want to be better people. We want to be diligent in the work of our hands. So in what ways are you committing to diligence in 2026? Write them down. What goals, what habits are you going to build daily? What little thing can you contribute on a daily basis? At the end of the week, what do you want to do to contribute towards your career growth? Does it include reading something about your career? Does it include, reading journals, reading reports, reading, materials that will boost your knowledge and improve your total experience? What do you need to learn? Knowledge is key. The better the knowledge you have, the more sought after you'll be. So in 2026, in what areas are you seeking knowledge to grow in your career? So put that down and work towards it, okay? Another goal I set for myself in my career for 2026 is to prevent burnout. How do I do that? I don't do more than I'm supposed to do. I know this may be a bit contradictory because a lot of people want to give themselves and give themselves and give themselves. And sometimes it's good, but at whose expense? You need to learn your body, learn your schedule, do your bit, and get adequate rest. Don't overexert yourself. Don't overstretch yourself. Don't spread yourself so thin. Don't put your hands in too many things that you are not excellent at one of them. So in this year, in 2026, the goal is to maximize my efforts and make sure that there's a limit to the number of ways I'm extending myself. So it means that I have to say no to certain opportunities and say no to certain things because it's distracting me from the core things I want to achieve in my career. So I don't know what it is for you, but what are the things that you have to say no to in order to succeed in your career? Write those things down so that you're intentional and you're consistent at it. Are you the kind of person that is a people pleaser? And so you can't say no if somebody wants some time off and they call you and you're supposed to be on a break. You should come in and step up for them. And you're always stepping up for everybody else, but nobody steps up for you when you have to be absent. You need to do a quick assessment and know that in 2026, you're going to move a bit different. 2026, you're going to be careful so that you're not overexerting yourself to prevent burnout. You're going to make sure that your career is balanced. You're balancing your time. You're getting adequate rest, adequate recreation. And we'll talk about that when we talk about our social lives. So there has to be a balance. So 2026 should be the year where you have balance in what you do. Now, when it comes to growth, how much do you want to grow in 2026? And what are the things you need to do to achieve that growth? Do you need to write an exam to improve? What sort of exam are you writing? At what times of the year would you be required to write these exams? When do you want to do your registration? How do you want to prepare for them? What materials do you need to get? How do you want to read? So think generally about the things you can do to grow in your career, the things you can do to be diligent, the things you can do to be excellent. At the end of the year, when you look back at your career, you should look back at it with pride, knowing that you have served, you have worked as to the Lord and not to man. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope that you're making notes in your workbook as well. To excel in your career in 2026, one other thing you need is accountability. Who is holding you accountable for the things that you say you want to do? Who are you talking to about them? Who is counseling you? Who is showing you the way? Who is mentoring you? You need mentorship in your career if you want to succeed. If you don't have a career mentor, it's time to find one. Look around you. Who are the people making it in your industry? Who are the people that you admire, the people that you look up to? In what ways can they influence you? In what ways can they mentor you? You can have mentors that are beyond your physical reach and have mentors that are in your immediate surroundings. What skills are you learning from your mentors? How much time are you committing to interacting with your mentors in a weekly basis or on a monthly basis? In general, what sort of influence do you want your mentors to have on you? Would you allow your mentors to have on you? So this is something you want to think about as you plan your career for 2026. So now that I've got you thinking about your career, we're moving on to the next segment. Take your time, let these things marinate, answer these questions, and be intentional. Remember, the goal is not to set such a huge targets for yourself, but set things that you can achieve, things that you can measure, and put a timeline to these things. If you haven't gotten a career mentor yet, you can say, by the end of January 2026, I have a mentor in my career. By the end of January 2026, I am doing A, B, C, or D. So put a time to these things. Don't just write the goals, but be time bound. Be intentional with your time, okay? Or else the goal will just be there and there's nothing urging you to complete it, all right? So now we're going to move on to financial planning. Next, we're going to talk about something very spiritual. Money. You're surprised, right? money is very spiritual. In fact, the Bible says it is the Lord your God that gives you the power to make wealth. Money is not evil. The love of money is evil. Ignorance about money, that's dangerous. And so money is very spiritual. It's all about perspective. So we're going to look at a few principles that I have learned over the years when it comes to money and finances. One, I've learned that God is the owner. I am just the manager. I'm the steward. God doesn't play favorites. If you're a good steward, he would increase what he's given to you. You remember the parable of the talents? One was given 5, one was given 2, and the other was given 1. The person that was given 5 talents worked at his and multiplied it. And at the end of the day, more was added to what he had. How are you managing your money? How are you managing your finances? If you were with us at the beginning of this series, we did an evaluation of the year 2025. And as part of that evaluation, we looked at how we spend our monies and where our monies go. If you haven't done that yet, link will be made available. Go watch that video and help yourself to evaluate how you spent your money in 2025. In what ways are you managing the resources that God has given you? Are you being a good steward? Are you being a wasteful steward? If you had someone managing your company and the person wasn't making money and the person wasn't keeping the money well, the person was losing money, misplacing money, just being careless with the money, would you entrust them with other things? Would you even let them continue working as your manager? If I was the one, I'll fire you straight up. Exactly. That's how it works. God rewards people who are accountable, people who are responsible, people who have proven over time that they're diligent with the little that they've been given. So I don't care how small your income is. I don't care how insufficient your money is. You need to manage it well. Quickly, let's make reference to the scripture, Luke chapter 6 from verse 10. I'm going to read this in the New Living Translation, and it says, "If you are faithful in little things, you will be faithful in large ones. But if you're dishonest in little things, you won't be honest with greater responsibilities. If you're untrustworthy about worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches of heaven? And if you're not faithful with other people's things, why should you be trusted with things of your own?" Did you just hear that? If you're not faithful in other people's things, why should God entrust you with things of your own? So it means that whatever amount you're earning now, you need to be faithful in it. You need to manage well. God needs to find you trustworthy so that he knows that you are ready to handle wealth. Many of us, let's be honest, can you handle the wealth that you're praying for? No, talk to me. Are you sure? Because the little 5,000 CDs you earn a month, or $10,000 you earn a month, or whatever amount it is you earn, you're barely surviving. So how sure are you that you're ready to manage wealth? In 2026, the goal is to build healthy money habits that will ensure that money thrives in your hands, to ensure that you're able to keep what you earn, you're able to multiply what you earn, you're able to convert what you earn, and not being wasteful about it. I don't care how little your income is, you can save, you can invest if you're intentional about it, okay? So now we've looked at one principle I believe governs money. Second principle I believe governs my finances is that it matters how you make your money. It matters. I know that a lot of people are looking to have multiple sources of income, multiple streams of income. And so they're ready to dabble, do this and do that and do this and do that. They're ready to be dishonest, ready to dupe people, ready to scam their way, ready to cheat, ready to lie, ready to add a few zeros and subtract a few zeros if it gives them $1 in their pockets, but it matters how you make your money. Be deliberate that in 2026, I'll make my money in a clean and fair way. I'll make my money in the honest way I know how. Make sure that in 2026, any dubious things that give you money, you leave them in 2025. If truly you want to succeed in your finances and you want the hands of the Lord to be upon your money, okay? Now, the next principle I know that, governs my finances is that money reveals your character. Money reveals your character. If you are a wasteful person, the more money you have, the more wasteful you are. If you are a greedy person, the more money you have, the more greedy you are. If you are dishonest, the more money you have, the more dishonest you are. If you are rude and disrespectful and arrogant, the more money you have, the more arrogant you become. So money it just amplifies whatever character you have. So if you don't have integrity when it comes to your finances, the more money you have, the more obvious it becomes that you lack integrity in your finances. So in 2026, what kind of money person do you want to be? So take out your workbook, your journal, your laptop, your iPad, whatever it is you're using to plan your year. And we want to clearly write out our financial vision for 2026. Personally, for me, in 2026, my financial management or my financial goals are in two broad categories. How can I multiply my money? How can I make more? How can I have more streams of income? And the second category is how can I manage what I already have? So to do these two, we're going to take the first one first. I want to believe that there's some people watching me right now who fall into the same category. You want to have more and you also want to manage what you have well. So in what ways can you multiply your money in 2026? Are there any other businesses that you could do on the side? What side hustle can you do? How much time do you have available and what can you invest with that time? Is there something you want to sell? Do you want to learn a skill? Do you want to provide digital services? What do you want to add? What extra thing do you want to add? What skills do you have that are marketable and in what ways can you market them? When do you want to start making your skills marketable? What do you need to learn? What knowledge do you need to attain or gain? What research do you have to do? How quickly do you want to do this research? Are there people you need to speak to about your money or speak to about multiple streams of income? Who are they? Identify them. When do you want to speak to them? When do you want to get started finding an extra source of income? Are there jobs online that you can do? Even though those, I've never tried it before, so I don't know what the market is saying, but I hear people say they're doing it. So what jobs can you do remotely? How do you structure your day to enable you do multiple things that bring you money at the same time? These are questions that you can ask yourself to help you write specific goals or specific plans for multiplying your streams of income. Now that we have that covered, we're going to look at how do you manage what you already make. Now, first and foremost, to manage it, you need to plug all the avenues through which you lose money. How is your money spent? What areas do you waste money? And so if you've evaluated your 2025 and how your money went in 2025, by now you know the things that waste your money. What budget are you drawing for yourself? So for me, I have a budget of what I'm going to spend in a month. I know exactly where my salary is going to go and what I'm going to use it for. I know that when I get my money, I take out my tithe. That's the first financial habit. That's the first thing I'm not going to compromise on. So now that tithe is out, what's left? How many percent of that is going into savings? How many percent of that is going into my investments? What percentage of that is going into my spending money to take care of utilities, bills, etc.? What percentage of that is going into wardrobe? And I don't invest in wardrobe a lot. So very minute. So I don't know what works for you. If you're someone that you spend a lot of money on food, in what ways can you maximize your finances so that you're not always spending on food? Personally, my plan for 2026 is to eat more at home. Again, because of the nature of my work, there's always no convenience bringing food to work, because sometimes you're working long hours, you're working overnight, so you're forced to buy food. But you can plan your finances in such a way that you are able to make the best out of the situations that you have on hand. So for me, I tend to eat good homemade meals. I invest in cooking so that I'm having healthy meals, and then I'm not spending so much money buying food outside. So you have to make plans for everywhere your money goes. If you're the kind of person that invests so much in, you're always buying data, you're always buying data, you're always buying data. Are there cheaper data options, bundle options that last you longer in the long term? How are you using your data? Is there a way you can maximize that to ensure that you're not wasting money every month on data or on credit? Are there some phone conversations that could be text messages? So evaluate where your money is draining from and plug those sources as quickly as you can. And drawing or setting up a budget for yourself helps. Now, based on what you earn, you can decide the percentage of that goes into giving. It's not everybody that comes and says, oh, I have a need, oh, I have a problem, and then you cough out money and you give them. If you keep doing that, at the end of the day, you realize that you're just draining yourself. You're draining yourself. And at the end of the day, you begin to resent these people and resent yourself. So if you put a cap at how much you're giving, how much you're using for charity, because it's charity. If you put a cap on it, you know that, okay, this is my charity budget for the month. Once that is done, that is done. How much are you budgeting for your offering? You see, I got you. You don't have plans to give God some money this month, do you? In 2020, you need to be intentional about how much money you're investing in God. So all of these needs to go in your budget, and you have to write it specifically. If you don't, you would overspend. Ask yourself at the end of the month, how much is my bank balance? My spending balance, my spending account, how much is the balance? You know, am I spending more than I earn? You need to balance the sheet. If you don't know how to, there are lots of materials on the internet. There are lots of financial books on the internet. There are people who can manage your money for you if you speak with them. So find someone who can give you real-time advice about money. If you don't do that, you end up mismanaging what you have. Find out, ask, make inquiries. In fact, as part of your financial plans this year, put getting financial consultation as part of your to-dos, part of your goals. At least within the first month of 2026, get someone who understands money to talk to you about how to properly manage your finances, how to go about investments, what you should invest in and what you shouldn't invest in. What are risky investments and ways to avoid them? What are things that you're sure in the next 1 year will give you some good returns? What stocks can you buy? You need to start making money moves. If you're still playing at this level, there's a whole lot of room for improvement. The idea is that in 2026, you will level up your money game. So stop wasting money on unnecessary things. The next thing you need to do is this. How much of my money am I setting aside as an emergency fund? You see, you never thought of that. Sometimes in life, things happen. Emergencies just pop up out of nowhere. You don't plan for these things, but you have to be ready for them. In as much as you don't want them to happen. There are people who lose their jobs and they find out that they can't sustain themselves just after 2 months. Whilst they're still, we all know that it's such a hustle trying to, get a new job. And so sometimes it takes a while, sometimes it's instantly you get a new job. So in the meantime, what do you do? How do you live? Do you go begging people, depending on people for resources? You have to think about these things. So ask yourself in 2026, every month, how much do I put in my emergency fund? A good emergency fund should have at least 3 to 6 months of your expenses, of your monthly expenses in there, just in case of emergencies, okay? Now that we've talked about that, I don't know what stage you are in your career or in your life watching this, but you also have to put some money aside in your retirement fund. I know it's too early to think about retirement as a young person, but trust me, even if it's a penny every month, it amounts to something, okay? So set some money aside for your retirement fund. Also, how much are you putting in your entertainment fund? Yes, you need to plan entertainment. You need to plan to take that trip, that vacation. After all the discipline, all the hard work, you need to reward yourself. Because if you're making the money, you've got to enjoy it at some point. So, yes, how much of your money are you putting in your entertainment fund? You know, that trip that you've been planning to take to Kenya or to go and see the Serengeti or to go to Marrakesh or all these exotic places, Bali, Maldives, wherever it is that you envision yourself visiting one day. How much are you setting aside to do those things that you love to do? If you don't plan for them, you will keep saying, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. You have to be deliberate and set aside little amount. Over time, that builds up and then you're able to take the vacation that you've always dreamed about. Before you buy that Bond Street, ask yourself, is it necessary? Now, a lot of ladies can argue that, buying a good weave is investment. What works for you? You don't need to impress anybody. So in 2026, be intentional. Refuse to impress people because at the end of the day, the people you're trying to impress are making money moves. They're investing in their finances. So in what ways do you want to make sure that you're living within your means? You're not living overboard. You're not being extravagant. You're not being splashy. If you live life like that, you can never save, you can never build, and you can never attain financial freedom.